Hello and Aloha Pa, the Baha'is of the world. Time is 1 o'clock. Today's Tuesday, 26th of January, 2020. It's well about 25 years past from me telling you that I'm an elder of God. Anyways, today's video is definitely intended for the member of the Universal House of Justice. This is almost a private video. No one in the world, especially the Baha'is, are not really in a position that they're bound to believe me or listen to me, or I would not have a particular mission for them. I'm the envoy of Baha'u'llah, especially for the member of the Universal House of Justice. They are answerable to me. And if they don't listen and they don't care, they will have to deal with it after they die. Okay? This matter is very serious. Although today, because of the socio-economical concept that we have, a person who has no follower, is just by himself, or didn't want to have, is usually taken as a nobody, namely myself. But believe me, I have all the capacity, even right now, to start a movement of some sort. But that's not my interest, and that's not my job, and that's not what I'm focused to do by God. So, to the dismay of those that they like me dead, I'm still alive. In the past 20 years, I have observed that in a very weird way, the Baha'i institution, even the National Spiritual Assembly of Canada, the lamest of them all, they have been protecting me, or else there would have been Baha'is, like I've seen it, that they would have decided to kill me or do something with me. But they've been preventing by them. For sure, Universal House of Justice has been a measure of the protection. I would not be around. It's very easy for these zealot Baha'is to just come and destroy the one that they don't like. So, conclusion is that I believe now that for Universal House of Justice to accept that I'm an elder, it would be harder than to say that I'm not. Because even if they say I am an elder and recognize me, none of the Baha'is would accept that anyways. And they might also completely say that this Universal House of Justice has gone crazy, because he's going after a living being called Abbas to be the elder of God. This recognition might be very costly for them. So, the whole reason for this particular video is that after I brought the last message to you, that it was an open letter, if you ever remember it. I had, in what I think the very second night or something, I had the strangest dream I've ever had. That ever since a year passed, I've been pondering on this as what this means. So, I shared it with one of the Baha'is. I don't know what he understood about it, because it's always like that when a person becomes evident as he is what he is, it's just the way people are. They start not to accept it. When he's dead, everybody does. It seems the manifestation of God at the beginning is like fire. It's like sun in the middle of the earth. and it just burns the surrounding areas. This is why Persians are the most oblivious about the Baha'i faith than anywhere else. But the people in a distance away, such as the United States or Canada, Australia, I don't know, Japan, they see the light of this fire, and this fire of the sun, which is like a hell, turns into life in a distance. This is why Japanese or American, they see some light, coming through, and they get it. Okay, let's go back to the dream. My dreams are not dream. They're actual events, many of them, that is a guidance, it's a message for me. I had a vision that I am somewhere in the United States, I don't know, New York maybe, somewhere on a big, busy intersection, 1940s, 1950s. It was completely old in everywhere, the cars, everything. But it was very busy, very lively. And news was around that the successor of the Shoghi Effendi has been found. There was news all over the place. They had, flyers, newspapers. And some people found me and said to me that, wow, yeah, you were right about saying that Shoghi Effendi had a successor. And they came to take me to him. I said, okay. And there was even banners, hanging from the lights, from the places that this guardian is found. Seemingly a 25 years, 30 years old man, maybe over 20. So as we go, people said to me that he's not exactly that old. He's like a teenager. He's young. I said, okay, let's go. Let's go see him. And as we go further, as I said, very vivid. These two few guys, they told me that actually he's not well. Like he might be sick. Okay. So finally we got to him. It was very much the picture of Shoghi's picture sitting with a broad shoulder. At least that's how it shows on that picture. He was a boy, about 14 years old. You could say almost like a Slavic person from Azerbaijan. You could say mixed. But, his condition was of shivering, of trembling, and he was displaying it like, I said, what's wrong, boy? And I touched his hand, his legs. I said, it's pain here, pain there, pain there. He says, no. I said, there's nothing wrong with you. And he goes, no. I said, no. Don't try to think that there's anything wrong with you. Actually, I tell you that you're very okay. He was like a bit relieved because he was pretending that he's sick because they told him he was sick. It was inculcated to him. So the part that was strange that I found out, this boy has a sister who's a couple years older. And she's absolutely a blonde girl, but seemingly doesn't look like sister of this boy, but it is. She's on there too. I said, okay, we have to get these kids and to go to see what we can do. As we were coming out, it was again the news all over from the louder speakers, even in town, that there is a huge monster has been found, a sick man, like a Frankenstein, that if anybody touches him or come in contact with it, he's going to get sick and die. Avoid contacting, touching, or anybody touches him, the sickness will get him and the death is imminent. He's terminal, he himself. He knows he's going to die. So please don't come in contact. I said, God, this is important. Let's get these kids to a safety. We came down to a place, in a room, I don't know, it was maybe 15 by 30, rather larger room. We're sitting around the tables, me and this couple of other people were talking. We kept the children in the adjacent room, so asleep, in safety. Suddenly we heard a huge scream, like a scream that you can believe it, from the girl going high heaven. And we rushed to the door, opened the door to see what's happening, and we saw the room, the way the room was. It was a flat area, but at the end of the room there was stairs going down, leading to an area almost like a tub, like a bathtub, made out of cement, rather large area. In it was that monster, and that was the reason that this kid was crying. I took the kids in my hand, in my bosom, right away. Took them out, and I look at his face. This so-called monster had a very innocent eyes. I can't describe you. He had a smaller shoulder and bigger hip. He was deformed in a way. It was like, Elephant Man, the movie, if you've seen. But his head was looking at me in a manner that, okay, I'm guilty, but I have nowhere to go. Who's going to think about me? And was with his hand splashing the water in the thing. When he was not anything more than 18, 19 years old, something, a youth. I said, I yelled at him, you are, I said, an honest person, but why do you come in contact with these kids? You know you're dying. You want them to die? And his eyes was again gazed on me with a pleading that I know is not going to get anywhere, but this dream, I woke up. The dream has been made me busy for years, for months. But what is the message here? I knew it right away as I got up what it means, by the way. I knew the boy was this writing of U.H.J. Effendi that together comprises, let's say, a will and testament. It is of the writing pertaining to the successorship and what it has to be. But people have made it to be sick, and it's not there exactly, and that's how Baha'is, they look at the U.H.J. Effendi or the matter of guardianship. Something sick, something shouldn't be touched, something you can't help it. But actually I touched it and I saw there's nothing wrong with it, and it actually exists there, and that's what I brought it to you so far. The girl with the blonde, it's the women in the West that they are teaming up with this issue because they're not a member of the Universal Laws of Justice, and they do not have an international rule. That's what it means. I guess by now you've guessed who is that monster who is innocent but is deformed. That is this institution of the Universal Laws of Justice at the present time. But in the dream, this so-called monster, Baha'u'llah was trying to tell me that you're protecting these two ideas, but this one is also wanting help from you. Maybe the individual member of Universal Laws of Justice, they look at me as a, I don't know, totally phased out man that is dreaming big or something. And some of you I know, they know I am the person. There can't be anybody else. But others, they just don't see how practical this is going to be, and so what, and you couldn't get anywhere. And but in reality, I have to say to the Baha'is of the world, including you, that the universal laws of justice in 1963 as it formed is innocent, but it's deformed. It's a problem. And this is why the guardians are supposed to come, you know. I'm not a guardian, I'm an elder, but future guardians, they will come, as Shoghi and this is. So, where are we going with this? Let me tell you what I hear, you know, innately in me from some of the Baha'is. That I hear them as though that they say that, Mr. Temori, are you crazy? What do you have in you that we should let go of the decision of 27 hands of the causes of God, the people that they sacrificed their life in teaching and protection of the faith? Not one of them, 27 of them. Well, 26 of them. At the time was 27 anyways. They have instituted this universal laws of justice. We have not. So you're telling us we have to let go of them? Such big evidence. And just listen to you. Think about it. It is the most unrealistic things for a Baha'i to do. So you're basically saying that the hands of the cause of God are wrong in instituting this, who were selected by Shoghi Effendi, and in return, Shoghi Effendi must be also not knowing what he was doing, electing these people to institute some wrong house. Also, Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha, the whole thing, the whole chain must be wrong then. Just by one assertion of one individual you. And you're claiming you're an elder. Well, then claim you're God at least, you know, because who is in position to say that the 27 hands of the cause of God, which they are told by Abdullah to be obeyed by the Baha'is, except you that you don't obey them, that we have to let go of them and listen to you. Look, what is your legitimate reason for us to listen to you? My immediate answer to you is this. There is no such a thing, Abbas versus hands of the cause of God, Abbas versus the writing. No. I'm just a bearer of the message. This is the Shoghi Effendi himself, and his writing does not accept this. Though it's very innocent, and in fact is seeking help, and help maybe that its member does not understand. So I have to protect it. So what do we do? I have been thinking, as the person, as an authority by Baha'u'llah to interpret, and I've given you already about who I am, and there isn't anybody matching my power, my authority in many, many aspects, you know. But if you bastard, you want me to die, send your torturer and tormentors and get me in a room and make it easy. I'll come by myself. I'll come then. If I bend down under those tortures and repented, surely I'm not an elder of God. But if I did resist any modern torture you have, you can things to put to my brain, whatever you can, alter my mind. If I bend down, then I am not. But that would be really, really a savage way of understanding things in 21st century. That's really not the way to go, isn't it? Okay, so for those of you that you think I might have a point, the question would be then, what do we do now? Are we going to say to the Baha'is of the world, all right, Abbas is the elder of God, we recognize him, and he says this universal is wrong, and therefore everything collapses? Is that your plan, Mr. Timuri? My answer to that is not. The faith of God goes through a whole lot of a strange metamorphosis that is totally not understandable. Sometimes even to their very founders. It's striking when you hear Abdul Baha says that, I never knew what's going to happen in the United States. I thought some Baha'is, they invited me to come here. When I came here, I saw how magnificent it is. He says, this cause of God is so big. It's beyond, understanding of a person. So what should be done? I think the decision of the hands of the cause of God to institute universal laws of justice was the only thing they could do, because they were put in front of a 10 years plan that was impossible to fulfill. Formation of the International Baha'i Court in Israel. It was impossible. Twice it was approached by the hands of the cause of God, and the answer was no. We're a secular country, we're not going to accept this. And many of part of that plan is not fulfilled. To take the Bagh Rizwan, the Garden of Rizwan in Iraq, to create 3 national Baha'i court in Middle Eastern countries. Close to impossible. So that plan is not fulfilled. For those who think at the end of the 10 years plan a universal laws of justice had to be formed, no. Hands of the cause of God, they panicked. It was a body that had the rapport, the coordination to be a body. You see, people like Ishraq Khavari, if he was there, matter would have been different. But to your surprise, he was overqualified. He was too big. Shoghi did not want him there because he would subdue everybody else. He was big. He chose certain people that they can get along together and a unity is formed. It's very hard, to create 27 people to be united. As we know, one of them had a difficulty. Mason Remy, that is. So we are not going to say that this has to go away. We're going to keep it. But we're facing 2 problems here right now. One is that the women, as I've seen, they just simply do not accept a bunch of testosterone back in the Haifa to decide for the entire population of the earth, and all these women have no say into it. Just they don't accept it. It's very weird. I've said to anybody, they said that this part is really not strange, not acceptable. The other part that they can't accept 9 people get together creates an infallible body. David Rossetti, who's a long-time Baha'i here in Toronto, he said, I have difficulty with that. I'm accepting it, but it just does not make sense. How should 9 people get elected become Baha'u'llah? Because Baha'u'llah is infallible. What is the scientific reason for this, It clearly shows that mankind has not reached to the level to understand these things. But for universal laws of justice, there was that International Baha'i Council that was elected by the decision of the hands of the cause of God in 1961. There we can see there's no difficulty because there are women in there, and that house is not infallible. It seems that's what people want. It's not infallible, and the women are in it, but it's by the democracy. People have elected that as to be the, the head of the Baha'is. So what do we do? I think this would be the best way, that through however process that you want to take, let's have a universal house of guardianship out of 5 women, just to be elected also by the Baha'is of the world. And then we join the 2 houses together. It's like we do sometimes, A committee comes to assembly and they have a joint meeting. Let's have a joint meeting of these 2 houses. Then automatically they can't be universal house of guardianship or universal house of justice. They're 14. In a crazy way, that is also the number of Baha. Baha'u'llah is 9, but it's also 14. So I tell you, for some of you, Baha in Abjad, it's B is 2, H is 5, A is 1, and then there's a Hamza at the end. That's also 1, that makes it 9. But Baha'u'llah says towards the Bab, if you take that Hamza, which is like this, and is exactly digit 6, and you add it to the Baha, which then it cannot be 9, it's 8, because we took the Hamza out, you can see 8 and 6 means also 14. So if I have this 5 and the 9, we also have the number of Baha in a different way. This is the solution, in my opinion, because now we have a joint session of these 2 houses. Because the way is eluded in the Baha'i faith by Shoghi Effendi, Abdul Baha. A large number of people have to become Baha'i, not the whole country or not all the countries, but nevertheless it's a big sum has to be there in order to have universal laws of justice, because the function of universal laws of justice to come and resolve the problem. There is no problem right now for them to resolve and solve, They've turned into a contractor that just keep building houses. What good is that? I've been in Chile. Fantastic. But it's lifeless. It's faced. It's like to come to Baha'u'llah says, Master, I love you, I believe you. You have the nicest, the most beautiful fingers. What? You believe in Baha'u'llah because it's the nicest finger? Is that it? It's the same way. Universal laws of justice had to be having right now at least 500 people in the world speaking the Persian and Arabic language. From Japan to America to Latinos. What are those people? To speak the original language and turn the world and grab this trust of the people of the world. Universal laws of justice have to be right now a major factor in the environment that's happening in the world to come and give a plain, clear idea. You have become a contractor. You keep building. This is why you're handicapped, okay? But it's innocent. I understand it now. So this is my suggestion, that we have to have these 2 houses together in a joint session. It is the universal laws of justice, not changed, and it is universal laws of guardianship, but they are working in a joint session. Unless and until a serious major attack towards the faith is getting engaged, then the 2 houses, they go into battle station, they separate. Universal laws of guardianship interprets the fact, and the sentences becomes the infallible law and saves the Baha'i faith. When it's necessary. We're not there now. You people have no idea. I'm sorry, you don't. And it's not you, the member of universal laws of justice. They're not as dick-headed as many of these Persian scholars. They are so oblivious to the fact. The one that I personally like and admire, and I've learned things from him, a few things here and there. This is Fariduddin Radmer. This is about the biggest you have. The man has written a book in Persian called Samawat Suluk. The book is like a few thousand, I don't know, 100 pages, trying to explain what the fourth valley is. And you know what it is? It's like I'm asking somebody, I've never seen a phone, a cell phone, a smartphone, and I'm asking Steve Jobs, okay, what's this phone? What's the device? He's taking all these parts and a component of the phone, put it right on the table and explain me one by one. And I tell him, you're done now after taking so much of my time? He said, yeah. I tell him I didn't get my answer. Because I was fine. I want to know what this device is for. But you're trying to segment it and analyze it and tell me what these pieces are. That's how Fariduddin Radmer is. He talks about nafs, you know. But it just gives us a lot of regurgitations of what other Muslims and other non-Muslims and this and that have said. And when it comes to the word of Baha'u'llah, Bob, he brings few things in the middle trying to explain it. But it's sort of lame. It's like a chef who has all kind of ingredients on the table, but he can't even make an omelette. I will be speaking in Persian language hereafter to the Persians now as what has to be done. Anyways, I know that you won't listen. It's unfortunate that this is the situation, but I did this video in a response to an actual a vision that I have. I've changed my opinion now about this universal laws of justice. In a way it's not changed, because I've earlier said that on earliest videos that the universal laws of justice formulated in 1963 is the universal laws of justice, nothing else. That's the one. With that, either the fate of God dies and goes and turns on the planet Mars and Venus and gets evaporated and dies out, or a solution will be found. And that's what the job of an elder is. You people in universal laws of justice are responsible to listen to this, okay? You don't, the fate will go down. I can ask now Baha'u'llah, and believe me, he will do what I ask. Because that's pretty much his opinion. That if you don't do this, I order the elements of the nature to break down that house that you call universal laws of justice. And break it down. You think I can't do that? Don't test me further. You're sick and you need help, and you have come to me. So I answer you tonight. If you want me to protect you, just as I did protecting these two ideas, I can protect this idea. And that's what has to be done. But without an elder of God, if you go to do it without a signature in the bottom of this, in future, again, it will be fractured. Because people say that, no, these are his words, and he used to change his word. We do not finally know at this point of time, whenever that time is, if he would have agreed to the decision of that time. Because that is what an elder is, to authorize. This word of elder once recognized, is an authorization of this fact. So the faith will be saved. Okay? What else can I tell you? I don't know. What else should I tell you? Except that I don't seem to be dying. No. He will keep me till the time comes. But make no mistakes. Whenever I come to you, I will make those members from the very past responsible for this delay in the things that could have happened. You had to be coordinating the power of the individual Baha'is, such as myself. I would have taken Canada right now as a country. In the last 25 years, I would have brought one city completely into the Baha'i faith. I would bring the Baha'i government into that local city and demonstrate it to the rest of Canada that this is the way of living now, with all its element. I would have constituted this organic city that all the answers is within it. There is not thousands of institutions to do babysitting for the people. The whole city is willing to babysit for those who need it. The city will be the police for the affairs that's required. It's called an organic city. It's the city of God. The city that works under Baha'u'llah. Maybe once upon a time, in the habitable zone in the universe, when Venus and Earth and Mars were getting prepared for life, and then maybe those two planets, they died out and citizens came here, those who could, to join the Homo sapiens that we know of now, to create the genome of the today's humanity. And if we don't understand Baha'u'llah, we will be doomed. This planet will be doomed completely. If a society cannot evolve a character like Jesus Christ and Baha'u'llah, that society will not give fruit. That society will die. As rare as it is to have them, yet that is their final destination. If they cannot get there, they die. So in here, the prophet zone is from Bengal all the way to Israel. China, there isn't anything. Europe doesn't have anything. But because in the middle this has happened, they export it to other two parts of the world, and they got it. They understood Buddha. These guys understood Jesus. Now the planet has come and given the final fruit, where God finally unveiled himself in the form of man, and he said, I am here. That has been fulfilled. We've done good so far as humanity in this planet. But now it has come to this. Okay? It all lies in your hand, what you want to do. Allahu Akbar.